And introduce myself to you. My name is Neil O'Leary, and I'm the mayor of the city of Waterbury. And just thank you. This is really an exciting event, and I can tell you, give yourselves a round of applause. We have well over 125, 130 people in this room. This is the first debate that I know of, so I'm very pleased to welcome you to Waterbury and have the debate here, right in literally my backyard. I live like right there. So welcome. It's my distinct honor. I'll invite you over another night. Tuesday's a little early in the week. It's my distinct honor to welcome everyone here, elected officials, top committee members, interested parties. You know, the 5th Congressional District obviously is near and dear to all of our hearts. We have 3 awesome candidates running. I'm pleased that you're going to be given an opportunity to listen to each of them. They're all very well known to you, but I will let my dear friend, Senator Joan Hartley, do the introduction. Senator Hartley?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I guess I'm here to introduce our moderator, but I would like to echo the comments of our chief elected official. Democrats, welcome to Waterbury. Let me just say, as you well know, that this is the largest city in the 5th Congressional District. It is a stronghold of democratic principles and leaders, as witnessed by our current mayor. And I am thrilled to be back here at Chase Collegiate School, a school that actually I served on the board with for a number of years, an institution that is very embedded in public policy and democratic government. I say lower D because they entertain all who come through the door. And I would like to say to all the young folks that are in the room, kudos to you. And you have a large task awaiting you, and that is to mobilize all of your peers and to have the greatest turnout that we have yet to see in the 5th Congressional District this election season. So without further ado, I would like to invite to the podium a very important person today, other than our 3 candidates and my colleagues, and that is none other than Scott Bates, who has blessed us with his talent to be here to officiate over this very interesting exchange tonight. Scott himself is the president of the Center for National Policy, the National Security. He is the national security expert for WNPR, so you may recognize his voice before you recognize him in person. He is a police commissioner for the town of Stonington, and he, as you might expect, is a very important member of the Democratic State Central Committee. So we're blessed to have Scott with us, and I am thrilled to have an opportunity to welcome him to Waterbury, and of course to tip my hat to all our candidates today. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Senator. Can you hear me in the back all right? Okay, great. I'd invite all the candidates to come up to the podiums. And first, a big round of applause for the young Democrats. For putting all of this together. It's fantastic, a true testament to democracy, and that all of you are out on a weekday night like this. It is fantastic. 2 simple things. First, we'll review the rules, and each candidate will have a 2-minute opening statement. And by order of lot, Chris Donovan will go first, then Elizabeth Esty, and then Dan Roberti. And then for closing, it'll be a 2-minute statement, and that'll be reverse order. Then we're going to go through a series of questions on some of the issue areas that are most important to all of you, I think, and to the American people as well. The economy, transportation, the environment, education, healthcare, national security. Every one of these questions didn't come from me, so if they're good, give credit to the young Dems. If they're bad, you can blame me. That would be okay. So that's the order. The question will be directed to one candidate. That candidate will have 90 seconds. And then the other two candidates will have 30 seconds. Our able timekeepers are right in the front. They'll be giving helpful advice to the candidates to keep within their allotted time as well. Then it gets interesting. I'd call this the wild card round, and that's where all of you come in. If you feel so moved, you can suggest a question. There are cards on that table. You can write the question down and submit it to this august panel. Then they're going to get it up to me. I'll try to get to your questions. No guarantees based on time. We've slotted about an hour. We might go a little longer, might not, just depends. And we'll try to get to your questions as well. The question should be a question that all three candidates can answer. So nothing specifically directed at just one candidate. What else? I think that's about it, folks. And after the debate, we will then have a pipe organ festival. Listen, this is so wonderful because our country couldn't need this kind of leadership more, especially with Chris Murphy moving on to great things. And so let's get started. Let me quickly introduce the three candidates. We, of course, know them all. Chris Donovan, Elizabeth Esty, and Dan Roberti. And we'll get right down to it. The first opening statement of 2 minutes goes to Mr. Donovan.
Thank you very much. Great to be here with all of you here in Waterbury. Thank you, Mayor, Senator, for having us here. And Jeff Berger, I see you're out there as well. Thanks for being here. You know, I also want to thank the Young Democrats for pulling us together. They did a great job pulling everybody. I guess the Young Democrats from Danbury, Greater Southington, Northwest Connecticut, and Waterbury. Let's hear from them. Because, you know, it's an important time and important for us to be here. You know, it's time for us to stand up for our American values. Dignity and respect for each and every one of us. You know, when we do the Pledge of Allegiance, we end it with, and liberty and justice for all. That's what we said. And we pledge that. But there are those in our country who are trying to undermine these values. They don't want liberty and justice for all. They're saying, let's cut Social Security. They're saying, let's cut Medicare. Let's cut women's health care. And when people need jobs, they're going to vote no. Well, it's time for us, all of us, to work together and have a campaign that says, yes for America. Yes for America. Let's work together to make America great. That's what my campaign is. My whole life has been working as an organizer, community organizer, working with people to make changes in our government to improve the lives of working families. So I worked with AARP and USA Seniors to make sure there's Medicare for seniors, make sure there are prescriptions there, make sure they're being taken care of. I worked with children in Husky and daycare. I worked with Love Makes a Family and have marriage equity. I worked with women on paid sick leave and pay equity and protection of their health care. And so I've worked with many groups over the years. I consider them my friends. They consider me a friend. And together, we're going to work to make this country great. We're going to take that organizing down to Washington. I want to be friends with everybody here. Let's go down Washington and make this country great. Thank you very much.
Can everyone hear? Okay, good. I want to first thank the mayor, thank Senator Hartley, thank Jeff Berger, and most of all, thank you to Peter and to all the young Dems. And it's high school students as well as college students as well as folks in their 20s and 30s. And thank you to everyone. There's a big crowd, and it's a great sign of the energy that we have as Democrats this year. I'm Elizabeth Esty. I'm not a career politician, but like most of the people in this room, I got involved in politics because I saw things that needed changing. And politics is the way we do that. With 3 kids in the public schools, about 6 years ago, I was sitting at the kitchen table making not terribly kind remarks about the Republican Town Council and their decisions. And my daughter, some of you know her, Sarah, looked at me and said, you know what, Mom? You could do something about that. You could run. You know, and I thought about it, and I thought she's right. I mean, it's a tough time. Who wants to be out nights and weekends? But that's democracy. Democracy is about putting yourself out there and making the change in your own community. And so I ran.
And we knocked on tons of doors, we listened to people, we put together a good slate of folks, some of them in this room tonight. And we flipped the council to be Democratic for the second time in the history of Cheshire. And we got a lot of good things done. I'm running for Congress this year because you know what? Washington has got to change. I don't know what happened, but they've stopped listening. They are so busy dealing with insiders and lobbyists that they are not paying attention to the needs of people. That has got to change. We've got to get back to the business of helping small businesses and manufacturers create middle-class jobs in this country. We need to protect Social Security and Medicare benefits earned by people through a lifetime of hard work. We need to invest in education. But most of all, we need all of us to get back to the business of fixing things and problem solving in this country. It's time to get things done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Esty, and now Mr. Roberti.
Thank you. It is so great to be here in Waterbury today. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you to the Young Dems for putting this on. Thank you to our moderator, Scott Bates. Thank you to the mayor, the senator, for those kind of remarks earlier. And thank you to Representative Berger for coming out tonight as well. I'm running for Congress because we need to fundamentally change the way Washington works. We cannot solve the problems we are facing today by doing things the same old way, the same way career politicians have been doing them for the last 20 to 30 years, while the middle class is getting crushed. We need to do things differently. And I've spent my life helping people who government has forgotten, helping people when Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast. I went down there and worked with people. When veterans came home from Iraq and Afghanistan, and there was no GI Bill, it was basically non-existent at that point, I went down and I helped our veterans. I helped people who came into the homeless shelter when families were without because mom and dad lost their job when the factory closed down. And the common theme throughout my life has been finding fresh approach, innovative ideas, and new ways of looking at old problems. That is what is missing in Washington today. That is what will create jobs. That is what will get us moving towards a better tomorrow. And that is why I'm running for Congress. So thank you again, and I am looking forward to your questions.
Well, thank you very much for your opening statements. I should remind everybody of just a couple things, which I know you don't need reminding about. Turn off your cell phones, please. And also, be kind and courteous to all the candidates and in your responses. I know you'll do that. First question goes to Mr. Roberti. And a reminder to the candidates and everybody here, the questioner will have 2 minutes to respond, and then everybody else will have 90 seconds. See, I had to remind myself. 90 seconds, Dan. And then the other two candidates will have 30 seconds to come in on that same topic. So, first question. There are several communities in the 5th District that have nicknames based on what they used to produce. We have Waterbury as the Brass City, Danbury the Hat City, Thomaston can claim the Seth Thomas Company, Torrington was known for making ball bearings. How would you help bring manufacturing back to the 5th District and bring in jobs?
Absolutely. One of the reasons I'm running is because we need to bring back manufacturing jobs. We are here in Waterbury, the Brass City, and that is why I put out a comprehensive jobs plan. We're going to do this in a number of different ways. First and foremost, we need to relook at our infrastructure. We need to build the infrastructure of tomorrow, and there are things we can do right here in the 5th District. We've got the companies out there that are ready, but we need to invest in things like high-speed rail. We need to invest in changing our transportation systems so we can build those things right here in Waterbury, up in New Britain, all across the 5th District. But we also need to look at the cutting-edge fields of tomorrow. We here in Connecticut, we are on the cutting edge of a lot of fields: biosciences, energy, We have fuel cell technology that we do out in New Britain and out in Danbury. And that's why in my jobs plan, I talk about making investments there. 2,400 jobs in fuel cell technology are supported in Connecticut today. But we're nowhere near our capacity for what we can do. We can create incredible manufacturing jobs in there, and we have to do it to strengthen our middle class and to make sure we have jobs here in Connecticut for all the hardworking men and women that are looking for jobs and need them.
Thank you very much.
One of the biggest reasons I'm running for Congress is because I'm such a strong believer in manufacturing. My own family has a manufacturing company. My grandfather started 3 generations ago, and there are companies like that all up and down the Naugatuck Valley. Marion Manufacturing in Cheshire has brought business back from China. And how do they do it? They did it by innovation. They did it by working hard, by being smart. But we need people in Washington who get it, who are going to fight for a level playing field, and work across the aisle to make sure we have a manufacturing caucus that really looks out for manufacturing and promotes it in this country. It's vitally important, and I want to make sure to be a strong voice for the Kids District.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan.
You know, jobs should be our #1 priority. It is my #1 priority. And up at the General Assembly, I worked with Governor Dana Malloy, Jeff Berger, and actually bipartisan policy to have a jobs bill that will help manufacturing. The crowning jewel for that is the Jackson Labs, which is a bioscience company that is coming next to Yukon Health Center to create hundreds of jobs. Jobs that will help cure diseases in our lifetime. There's much more we can do. We can work with our community colleges to say to businesses, we will train your workers. Tell us what training they need. We will create our curriculum with you, and they will get jobs when they leave. One way to keep businesses
here. Thank you, Mr. Donovan.
Thank you very much.
The next question goes to Ms. Estey. A large percentage of former factories are now listed in the polluted brownfields property registry. How will you promote remediation of and new development on these properties?
Well, there are great projects going on right here in Waterbury now, and I think this is an example of how we can really lead as Democrats. You know, face it, the idea behind brownfields was we want to protect communities from pollution. A really, really important principle. But I got to tell you, 2 months ago, I was meeting with folks in the south end of Waterbury, and they said, you know, Elizabeth, we've got this abandoned factory, and it's been like that across the street for 40 years. Why can't we have a playground? Why can't we at least even have a parking lot? Get something that's going to create jobs and provide something positive in our community. And that's where we have to get to solving problems. You know what? We have got to figure out a way to get brownfields back onto the tax rolls because we need to create jobs. And we need to make positive change in communities. And right now we're stuck. We're stuck because we've got regulations that are so stiff that no one wants to take the investment. We need to solve the problems around liability to help communities with facilities right in their backyard, and to make sure that the rules work. You know, this is a big thing for me. A lot of times, you know, politicians do a press release and they think they've solved the problem. Press release isn't good enough. We have to go back and see, is it working? And folks, brownfields are not working because they're sitting there idle all up and down the 5th District. So we have to get businesses working with our environmental engineers and solve this to help communities be healthy and create jobs right in our backyards. It's got to be a high priority. I'm looking forward to working on it. Thank you.
Mr. Donovan.
Thank you. Often in our cities, when you see open space, that means it's a brownfield. We need to use that space. A lot of our cities have lack of land for development. By spending money and cleaning up brownfields, we can help development. I worked in the state. I jokingly call Jeff Berger Jeff Brownfield because he works really hard. We've been able to attain money through the state government to actually remediate these brownfields, clean them up, and put them to work. We've actually made progress. We're cleaning up. It's going to make a difference in our cities.